We will never do any of these lockdowns again. And I hear people say they'll shut down the country, and honestly, I cringe because we know places that have done that. The most draconian lockdown in the world has been Peru, military enforced since March. They have the highest per capita mortality in the world from COVID. And at best, what a lockdown will do is delay.
Would you be prepared to shut this country down again?
I would be prepared to do whatever it takes to save lives, because we cannot get the country moving until we control the virus. That is the fundamental flaw of this administration's thinking to begin with. In order to keep the country running and moving and the economy growing and people employed, you have to fix the virus. You have to deal with the virus.
So if the scientists say shut it down?
I would shut it down. I would listen to the scientists.
People are tired of the lockdown, and when you only see us saying we're going to follow science, people are starting to get afraid that Biden's going to keep us locked down.
A policy of never-ending lockdowns month after month would ultimately do more harm than good to public health. But the young and the healthy to safely return to work and to school. We have to open our schools. Open our schools. Stop this nonsense.
Our only hope of rescuing this great country is to reopen the economy. If you print up billions of dollars and give it to people, they are unlikely to spend it until you end the quarantine. The good news, though, is that the scientific community finally has facts instead of conjecture. The models that used 3.4% mortality were fortunately very wrong.
No more lockdowns. Viruses are a fact of life. We need to try to find treatments, but trampling on our basic rights and wrecking businesses, ruining livelihoods, and bankrupting our country is simply no longer an option. Even Fauci had to admit a vaccine may never come.
The stress of the pandemic pushing some couples to divorce. New data shows that divorce rates in the U.S. spiked by 34% from March through June, hitting a peak about 3 weeks into lockdown. Newlyweds were hit the hardest. 20% of couples who separated were married for 5 months or less.
According to data collected last month, 12% of American households in the richest country in the world are now routinely short on food. More than 20% of all renters in America are behind on payments. Keep in mind, these data were collected before federal unemployment benefits expired. People are abandoning their pets. Prescriptions are going unfilled. We could go on.
What we've needed from the get-go is a national lockdown so that we have consistency of approach across state lines. It doesn't do any good if 100 million Americans are compelled to socially distance by law and the other 250 million are just being given suggestions.